Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Let's get right to it. We are in round two, Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, right along the shore on the beach, basically. It is a street circuit. It is the fastest street circuit in the world. And because of that, it's kind of like a power track, almost. But it's going to be interesting and fun to watch, as I don't believe last year's results will work out to be the same as this year's results. So we'll start first with Alpine. And of course, we got them in the back. Like I said, this is a street circuit. It's the fastest one. So if any one of the street circuits was to be like a power track, this would be the one. Haas, they're doing a lot better than I had expected. I thought they were going to be the worst team on the grid, but it turns out they're most likely not. And I bet that Nico Hulkenberg will pull some more magic in qualifying this weekend, and he might actually make it into Q3 again. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Sauber. Um, Sauber. Wow. They are the most visible team on the grid and the most invisible team on the grid. I love their color scheme. I love the bright green. I think it's wonderful. The whole kick green that is all over their car. They would stand out on the grid at any time if they just got on television, but they have almost nothing to offer in terms of personality. Although Botas is he's kind of an eccentric dude, but they don't really put that on television, and most people don't see it. You have to go to his social media to see how funny he is. And Joe is a little bit more modest when it comes to his media presence. But the team itself, overall, they rarely get seen on track, and when they do, they stand out. It's a shame that they don't get to see more television time. And I love the color, but unfortunately, they are kind of invisible, and they'll probably disappear into the 16 to 18 grid spot uh, in 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 this weekend's Grand Prix. After then, we have Williams, and I'm hoping that one Williams car scores a point. I'm really hoping for it. I hope that one of the bottom five teams can crack into the top 10. All bottom five teams were locked out last week, and that's probably what made the race seem less exciting. I personally thought that the Bahrain Grand Prix had a lot to offer, but when you're looking at the top five teams locking out all the points, you're looking at a good half of the teams just kind of putting in laps and not having anything to speak for afterwards, and that can make things seem pretty bland. I'm hoping for Williams that they score points, and I'm hoping that Logan Sargent does well. I don't see him scoring a lot of points this year. It's just really hard to crack that top 10. I think he will. I hope that he will. But for his sake, at least a bunch of top 15s, a couple 13 spots, something like that that says that the improvement is there for the team overall and for himself. I think he needs some good finishes. I don't think I want to see him, vent his frustration on the radio like he has been of recent, going back to last year. I want to see him do well. And obviously, I think most people are sentimental fans of Albon. Who isn't? When it comes to the top five teams, the point scoring teams, I'm kind of curious to see if Aston Martin is going to be able to score points with both cars. They did notch it at 9 and 10 last week, and that's great for them that they got on the board. I don't know how possible it is for them to continue to uh, both make it into the top 10 and both continue to log scores for the constructors or for themselves. Obviously, Fernando Alonso would be the favorite between the two to continue to score consistently. I think that's most likely going to be the case. So really, this is more a question about Lance Stroll and will he be in the top 10? If he's not, then you'll have the likes of somebody like an Alex Albon who's waiting in the wings, or even a Valtteri Bottas. I know that I said that he would finish, between 15, 16, 18, but you never know. If he has a great race, he could do it. Or Nico Hulkenberg could certainly do it. But I think I'm going to kind of favor Williams here to sneak into the top 10. Maybe you could call me biased in making that prediction, but what can I say? I like Alex Albon a lot. So now we have McLaren, and it seems like McLaren is kind of locked into that fourth row. Um, again, we're only at race 2. I think that there's plenty of room for improvement for the team. The problem is once you get past McLaren, you start breaking into that top 3, and the top 3 is really hard to crack. But it's good to remember that this time last year, things looked terrible for McLaren. And they scored points in Bahrain last week. They scored 12 overall. And that was excellent. So they're expected to score this week in Jeddah. And if they do, and if they get both cars in the points, this is leaps and bounds ahead of where they were at this point last year. We always have to remember where they were last year versus where they are this year. See that the curve of progress for them is very steep, and it is going in the right direction. In terms of Mercedes, George Russell has been very vocal about the expectations for the car and the feeling that they have fixed some of the issues as it pertains to last weekend. So it looks like they're feeling quite optimistic about the car. Lewis has been busy handling some funny Mercedes questions about Verstappen, and same with George as well. So that's kind of been a smirk-inducing distraction for the team, allowing for them to focus on the car and to remain optimistic while other teams are kind of faltering in the PR sense of the word. For Ferrari, all I have to say is if you finish second, you finish last. Don't finish second, or you're a failure. That's just for the Ferrari fans. They know what I'm talking about. And as it pertains to Red Bull, I think only one car makes the podium this weekend. Now, the easy choice would be to say that it is Checo. But as we all know, Sergio Perez, he won last year's Grand Prix. And he is supposed to be the king of the streets. So if it is him that wins this race, am I saying that Max won't make a podium? Maybe I am. That could be the sexy choice, because if Max doesn't make a podium, then all of a sudden I get to run around and say that I'm right. I'm not so sure about that. So I am going to say that one of the Red Bulls will not make a podium. That's all I can say. If that is not a daring choice, then so be it. I kind of like to play it a little bit safe here and not say so. I just can't bring myself to say something ridiculous like Max Verstappen won't make a podium. I just don't see that happening. But I am going to say one of the Red Bulls won't make a podium. Who do I think will be on pole? Who else? Charles Leclerc. I believe he'll be on podium, and he is a great P1 position babysitter for the Red Bull team, and he will continue to be. Nothing against him. I like him very much. You should check him out when he plays the piano. He's very good at it. It's just he has a string of bad luck and bad circumstances that he is such an excellent one-lap driver, and that he is stacked up against such a dominant Red Bull car. So that is my preview, my prediction, my outlook for this weekend. I hope you guys have a fantastic time, and cheers to you. Enjoy it. When the lights go out, let's all have some fun. And don't forget, I am a motorsport enthusiast first. And, well, actually, not a motorsport enthusiast first. I am a motorsport enthusiast, but a Formula 1 artist first. Check out the link down below. That's my website, RadoArtStudio.com. I am a Formula 1 artist. My artwork is available to you. And that's some of it right there. So enjoy and have an awesome, awesome, awesome weekend.